Pancho Villa Poncho.
You know what I'm talking about? Man, Tim, it is amazing to be in Texas. I feel like this is where I should be from. Everything's bigger in Texas. I'm big boy. I should have been a cowboy. I mean, I could see myself riding in plains over in mountains.
What do you think? You're like a rancher or something?
You're damn right I'm a rancher. I mean, I know I can ride a horse, rope a bull. I can steer. You know what I'm saying? I can do it all.
Steer.
I gotta steer in the right direction.
So, you know, Howard, we're right on the border with Texas and Mexico, you know, and I spent a whole lot of time in Mexico, and I learned that this guy, Pancho Villa, he was the real deal outlaw back in the early 1900s because whether it was jewelry, guns, money, he like controlled his whole area.
So he was basically a mobster of his era.
Yeah, but he was also bootlegging this product called Sotol. It's like homemade moonshine.
I've heard of every alcohol in the world, but never knew Sotol.
A hero to some and a villain to others, Pancho Villa was a military leader in the Mexican Revolution in the early 20th century. Villa operated out of northern Mexico and used El Paso as his hideout from the Mexican army. Rumor is he stashed money, guns, jewelry, and even the Mexican moonshine Sotol that he then bootlegged to finance his army. Unlike other Mexican spirits, mezcal and tequila that come from the agave plant, Sotol is distilled from a shrub named desert spoon that grows throughout northern Mexico's Chihuahua Desert. Much like American moonshine, Sotol was long considered a drink for peasants and remained illegal to produce until the 1990s.
If they are outlaw and they dealing in the alcohol business, I want to learn all about it.
You're damn right we do, because you're like the Pancho Villa of today's era.
Yeah,
And I'm all bootstrap and green right here beside you.
You could be one of the soldiers.
Yeah.
This is Mexican moonshine, so I really want to pay respect back to that Mexican moonshiner and in the spirit of Sotol. And the only way I can do that, I got to get in El Paso and get the history behind the product, get the history behind the people who was making it, and find out, is that a recipe that the Mexican moonshiners was making it back in the 1900s? If it is, I want to bring it back to life. Look here. That's the stash house right there.
The original.
Yeah, it's the original location. Isn't that neat?
Well, this is like old Ponderosa.
That's what I'm talking about.
Is that the guy we're looking for? Because that might be the damn Pancho Villa himself.
I think so.
That's the getup I need.
Bernie,
Gentlemen,
nice day in Texas, ain't it?
it's always a gorgeous day in Texas.
Yeah.
How you doing?
How you doing, Bernie?
Well, welcome to El Paso.
Thanks for having us.
You know, Bernie, I learned a little bit about tequila. I learned about the mezcal. But, you know, Sotol looks like it's more of the real deal Mexican moonshines.
It actually really is. I mean, if
Yeah.
you look at the history of Sotol, it goes way back 600, 700 years.
Wow.
And initially, when they started producing Sotol, it was the indigenous peoples. They were brewing it down there, and then as the Spaniards were coming in, they actually educated them on how to distill it.
Well, that's catching my interest because Howard and I, we would love to recreate that. So we like to learn all we can about Pancho, Sotol, the Stash House, El Paso, and understand you're the man that knows all about that.
Well, I'm looking forward to helping you out with whatever I can.
Okay. So this is a Stash House.
Yes, it is. Been here since the late 1800s. They would hide the money and jewelry in here, and then they would use that to buy weapons, ammo, uniforms, anything they needed for the Norteño, the soldiers
So that's how
across
he
the border.
outfit his operation.
Little bartering going
Pretty much,
on
yeah.
here.
I want to get in here and look at this place.
Follow me, I'll show you where the jewels, the money, Sotol,
Outstanding.
you name it.
I want some
Can
of
you show
all
me
of
where you
that.
got that coat from? Because I'm telling you what, that thing's sharp, Jack.
Man, that is a door right there, ain't it? Ain't triple layer right there. Let's see where they were stashing stuff.
You bet.
Look at this.
Isn't this impressive?
Man, look at that, what a piece of wood that is. Oh, man, this is nice.
Yeah. First of all, a couple of pictures of Villa.
Okay.
This one's supposedly is in front of the house, and he's got one of his officers back here in the corner. Rumor has it that's his bodyguard. He had a ruthless reputation.
Kind of like me.
Ruthless? Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
This is a replica of a reward sign they put out. $5,000 doesn't sound like much today, but $5,000 back then was a lot of money.
About $1 million.
It's a whole lot now.
He was a wanted man.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Pancho, it sounded like he was on a mission. I mean, he had a good heart, but, you know, don't cross him up. He had his whole heart in transporting whatever he needed to do to get across that border to help his people out. So during this period of time, was it safer to be in this location?
No.
Across the border?
Absolutely not safe to be here, questionably across the border. But he had to come over here to make the deals to get what he needed for his soldiers. He had upwards of 6,000 soldiers at one time.
He was like a general in the army, right?
Yes.
And then he wanted to be president of Mexico.
Yeah, for a very short time he was.
Pancho was the president?
Very short time. Yeah, they went through so many changes in Mexico City. And in fact, when he was in Mexico City, he was actually arrested, and he escaped dressed up as a priest. And he went into exile in the United States, and then he went back into Mexico. Now, we come in here. This is the exciting part.
Okay, now we're talking.
Here's what you wanted to see.
The stash.
You bet.
Right there, Harold. Look at that.
Isn't that incredible?
This is genius.
The good stuff in there.
He had to be one step ahead of everybody else.
I want some of them coins down there. Are they real?
Yeah, they're real, but they're pesos.
Right here on the floor, this is where the most valuable goods, whether it was jewelry or money, or maybe gold or silver, this is where they had it.
Then they would put all the jewelry and so on in these trunks and bury it down there, and life was good.
Is that what that is right there? Is that some Sotol?
We're thinking that maybe this is one of the bottles that had Sotol in it.
Yeah, let me see it. There's nothing on it.
No.
It's definitely old.
Very old. When they raided this place and they were able to find all his stash spots?
Well, they thought they found it all. We're not quite sure.
Do you mean there's more in here?
There may be.
Oh, hell, we need a jackhammer. We're talking to Bernie, you know, we learned a whole lot about Pancho Villa being the smuggler, bringing the Sotol over. And now we want to know a little bit more about the Sotol, you know, how they make it, you know, and how they process it. But you know, Howard, we need that recipe that what Pancho was bootlegging across the border. So, you know, I researched Malfa Spirit. They are making their version of Sotol. So let's try to pick up on the whole process, you know, especially how they ferment it. And then one thing, how do we get it? Where it may be right out there. I don't even know what it looks like. It's really important that I get over to Malfa Spirit because these guys, I heard, is making it traditional way. And this is important for me to carry on that Mexican heritage. I want to learn all the steps, how it's fermented, how it's distilled. And if they got a recipe, this is a good start for us. Howard, Malfa Spirit Company right here, buddy. Look at this. It looks like an old grain mill or something.
This is a super cool distillery, man.
Can't wait to get in there and see what they're working with.
I feel like if we're gonna find the answer to the recipe we're looking for, it's gonna be here.
It smells like they're doing something in here. Hey, guys.
Hey, y'all.
Looking for Morgan.
You found him.
Outstanding.
Nice to meet you all.
Yeah.
Pleasure to meet y'all, man.
Pleasure to meet you, man.
Yeah.
Welcome to Marfa.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
So Howard and I, we've been researching some Sotol, and we want to learn how to make it, too.
Excellent.
You know, we don't know anything about it. We don't even know what it looks like.
Well, you're in the right spot. We can
Good.
take you through it.
Okay.
Yeah. We've spent a lot of time traveling in northern Mexico, in Chihuahua specifically. We've got a bunch of Sotolero friends down there that have kind of taken us under their wing, fifth, sixth generation. Everybody does it a little bit differently, but a lot of it hasn't changed since the 1800s.
Yeah, a lot of traditional technique, but the big thing for us is really paying homage to the plant and the Sotoleros in Mexico, to what we've been so fortunate for them to teach us.
So is it like a pretty simple process?
It's a simple process, but it's a lot of work.
All right, well, how do we get started?
Why don't we start where it starts? At the oven, we'll go check the plants out, and we'll teach you the ropes.
All right.
All right, let's
do it.
go.
Y'all lead, I follow.
Where's that oven at?
So we've gone through several different ideas of ovens. We've landed on what is the most traditional way to cook Sotol.
It looks like you're cooking a pig.